Crow Scientist by Phelan Peck. Crow Scientist. A crow is watching you. You're going down the street, minding your own business. Then you see it, a crow, perched on a sign, staring straight down at you. It watches with interest and almost seems to recognize you. That's not possible, though, is it? Can crows recognize humans? That's the question John Marzluff asked after years of observing crows. Marzluff is a wildlife biologist. Wildlife biologists study animals, how they behave, and how they interact with their environment. For many crows, that environment is a busy city or town. Marzluff is especially interested in how crows interact with one very important part of their environment: humans. Marzluff said crows are very fun to study because many people see them every day. Everyone knows what a crow is, he says. Crows have shiny black feathers and are about half a meter, 1.5 feet, long. They will eat anything from insects to eggs to scraps of food that humans throw in the trash. They can even catch and kill rats to eat. Unlike many animals, crows are able to survive in places where lots of humans live. Marzluff is curious about how crows manage to survive so well around humans. He wonders, what makes crows so successful in a city environment? How closely do they pay attention to humans? How does noticing humans help crows survive their environment? Surviving in an environment with humans. You may not think of yourself as a crow environment, but you are. You may not think of yourself as part of a crow's environment, but you are. Crows are very aware of you and are reacting to you, said Marzluff. But from a crow's point of view, humans can be very dangerous. Some humans chase crows away from gardens and farms, or even hunt crows. Other humans feed crows, even though crows can find plenty of food on their own. Of course, many humans simply leave crows alone. Different humans may treat crows in very different ways. Humans are part of the environment. For many crows can get food from humans. They sometimes eat seeds that humans plant in trash that humans throw away. On the other hand, humans can be dangerous to crows. Some humans hunt crows. Marzluff noticed that crows seem to treat humans in different ways too. He noticed crows scolding some humans. When crows scold, they call loudly, flap their wings, and sometimes even dive and chase. Marzluff noticed that crows often scolded the wildlife biologists he worked with. He wondered if it was because the biologists on his team often trap crows. Trapping crows let biologists observe them closely and mark them with tags. The biologists don't harm the crows, and they let them go afterwards, but to a crow, being trapped seems like an attack. Marzluff noticed that crows often scolded biologists who had trapped them. He wondered whether the crows could actually recognize the biologists. When a crow calls loudly and tries to chase a person away, it is called scolding. What a crow sees. A crow has to see someone in order to recognize that person. Like many other animals, crows rely on vision to find food and avoid danger. Light reflects off objects, such as humans, in the environment, and some of that light enters a crow's eyes through the pupils. The light carries information about the environment. Light receptors in the crow's eyes respond to the light and send information to the crow's brain. The brain processes the information and forms an image. Then, it compares that image to the memories and decides what to do next. Light, which provides information about the environment, enters through the pupil. Receptors respond to light. Information goes to the brain. Brain processes information. Investigating crows. To find out whether crows can recognize humans, Marzluff chose to focus on faces. He decided to investigate this question: will crows recognize the face of a dangerous human? Marzalov thought of a way to test this. First, a human would have to trap some crows so that the crows would think the human was dangerous. Later, that same human would have to walk by the same crows. If the crows scolded the human, that would give Marzalov evidence that the crows remembered that particular human was dangerous. But how would Marzalov know for sure if it was the human's face the crows recognized? Maybe they could smell the human, or notice the human's clothing, or way of walking. To make sure he was testing just the face, Marzalov made masks of human faces. That way, he could be sure the face was the only variable he changed. Marzalov made masks to use in his investigation. How scientists changed variables. A variable is something that can change in an investigation. Scientists set up investigations so that they are only changing one variable at a time. By changing only one variable at a time, scientists can tell that variable affects how the investigation turns out. If a scientist changed too many things at once, they wouldn't be able to learn from their investigation. They couldn't tell which variable affected how the investigation turned out. In Marzalov's crow investigation, the mask would be the only variable he changed. He would keep everything else the same, including smell, clothing, and way of walking. He made masks of two different faces, face 1 and face 2. Marzalov and his team wore both masks where crows could see them. They wore face 1 to trap crows so that the crows would think face 1 was a dangerous human. When they wore face 2, they ignored the crows and did not trap them. One of the biologists on Marzalov's team wears face 1 while trapping a crow. Changing faces. Once Marzalov's team had introduced the crows to face 1 and face 2, they were ready to find out whether the crows would react differently to the two faces. A person walked past the crows wearing the mask of face 1. The crows scolded face 1 and even swooped down to try to chase face 1 away. Then the person walked into a building where the crows couldn't see him. The crows stopped scolding. He switched masks, so he was wearing face 2. When he came out of the building wearing face 2, the crows did not react. They did not scold face 2 at all. Here this crow is scolding and chasing a person wearing the mask of face 1, the face that traps crows. Marzalov and his team repeated this investigation many times. They repeated it with different crows in different places. They repeated it with different masks. They observed how the crows reacted to each mask. Almost every time, the crows scolded the face they had learned was dangerous. Marzalov was able to figure out that the crows remembered faces because he changed only the masks in his investigation. If he had changed other things at the same time, he would not have been able to tell whether it was the masks that the crows were reacting to. The investigation gave Marzalov evidence that crows learn, recognize, and react to human faces. The crows remembered the faces that trapped them. They scolded people wearing the masks of those faces. Here the same person is wearing a mask of face 2. The crows are not scolding him. What Marzalov found out. Marzalov learned a lot about how crows survive in an environment filled with humans. Crows pay attention to the humans around them. Light reflecting off a face carries information about that face. Some of the light enters a crow's eyes through the pupils. Light receptors respond to the light and send information to the brain. The brain compares the face to other faces in the crow's memory. Crows can remember which faces mean danger. The crow's brain uses its memory to guide the crow's next action. Recognizing dangerous faces help crows avoid dangerous humans and survive. Working with brain scientists, Marzalov made this image using a machine that can show inside a crow's head. The bright areas show where the crow's brain is responding to the sight of human face that the crow recognizes. This is the beak, the eye, another eye, and the brain. More questions and more investigations. Marzalov and his team have done many other investigations about how crows interact with humans. They studied crows using machines that can make images of brain activity. They made lots of different masks and did tests with different crows in different places. In every investigation, Marzelov thought carefully about what information he needed and what variable he would change. While Marzelov's investigation answered his question about whether crows can recognize faces, they have also led him to ask many more questions. Do crows learn about dangerous humans from other crows? How long do crows remember faces? What parts of a human face do crows recognize? Maybe Marzelov will be able to answer some of these questions in future investigations. In the meantime, if you see a crow, remember, it's not just looking back at you, it might even recognize your face. This has been a reading of Crow Scientist in Books for Vision and Light, narrated by Mr. Puglisi. If you have followed along in this book, please message Mr. Puglisi and tell him, how did the scientists figure out that it wasn't smell, the way a person walks, or anything else about a human except its face that allowed a crow to recognize a human? Have a great day.